increase in the work week or increase in hours that we spend at work, and then people are too tired to be involved in other communities.
Maybe it's just the way the modern frenetic pace of work, particularly with the internet and the fact that so many of us allow ourselves to be 24/7 computer servers. So many of us allow ourselves to be so plugged in to our work that we're never away from the office, we're never away from work, that we burn ourselves out and we just don't have the energy, the gumption to get up and to go and to make an effort in this regard. Please.
Just to tag on to what you said, I think there's something about being human that's involved in this, and where at times in our history, the religious institutions have fed that, met that, served that purpose. If they're not anymore, but that human longing for connecting with something transcendent is real, it's there, it's not going to go away. And so
it's just where we are in time and place in human history that there seems to be a disconnect between what people are wanting and what the community is providing. No, I don't want to put words in your mouth, I'm just trying to make it. Monica, and then we'll go around a couple more and keep going, please.
I know in the Jewish world, but in the Christian world, we are fighting about such silly things. And I think young people see that and go, why would I want to join that? Then when we see young people do come in, or the nuns who are looking for spiritual longing, we put them on a committee. And say, here, come and do our finances. For the love of Christ. You know,
That's a Christian. We're not quite as hung up about God and Caesar as you guys are, so please, yes.
And then I also, we, some of our bishops and some of the conferences we've gone to talk to us about, then there's that club aspect. Like, you walk into a church, the club already exists, the circle's already made. Where does somebody fit in that community who doesn't look the same or act the same or is working 24/7, has a different lifestyle, not an expectation that you're going to come back Sunday night or even have Wednesday reserved. Wednesday in my small town is reserved for church night. So, you know, a lot of aspects, those who are in and like it the way it is. Is there room for anything more? Anything different?
So communities have a lot of work to do to be more welcoming, embracing, and to at least have a little bit of an incubation period that between becoming a part of the community and slotting them into committee work, there should be a little more of an initiation period before we put them into the deep end. Please, Erin.
I'm kind of thinking along two lines of thought. One is our houses of worship having trouble communicating the real message of our scripture and our faith. So that's one question I have in my mind. The other question is, I wonder if we're communicating it so well that it's turning people off. Because I think that
we're either not communicating it enough or we're communicating it too well?
I guess what I'm trying to get at is that at the core of the faith that we're talking about today is a real deep call to economic justice, to distributive justice, to social justice, environmental justice. So, which I think that the person in your little video would find appealing if he only knew that that was the truth of it. So I'm wondering, do we not get the word out, or is that call to revolutionize our behavior so scary that people don't want to have a behavior?
Very interesting, and both of those impulses could be at play here. One more, please.
I think of it as twofold. We have in our congregation out in East County, 42% young families, and the 30 and 40-somethings have lived. They have children now, but they also have lived in an extreme world, in a world that has moved so fast, they're looking to be grounded in some fashion. And the other thing is, I just think that God is on the move. I think that it's the Imago Dei within each.
Interesting. So, I mean, so you're seeing, I guess, according to some of the things I'm discussing, kind of a counterintuitive sense of people who are finding anchoring and footing and community desperately because their lives are so crazy and,
Yes.
and seemingly.
Partially, I think our location, the location affects it because we're in Monroe, we're right up against the mountain, lots of recreation, but a very family-oriented community.
So for religion and for real estate, it's location, location, location. Absolutely. In my research studies and experience, and some of this research, Patricia Killen and Mark Silk's book in the series, God in the Nun Zone, particularly talking about the Pacific Northwest a few years ago, there's some key trends that seem to feed into this sense of disaffectedness, unaffiliation. One is that anywhere there are many other distractions, particularly natural beauty and wonders, there are less ties to faith communities. And I think you see that the Vermont issue, I don't think it's an accident that it's in Vermont. Okay, you go outside, you feel like, do I really need to deal with the politics and make the effort to go into a religious community when I can go out in nature and be in God's sanctuary? And maybe I want to I was thinking of going to church on Sunday, but it's my only day off and I want to have a hike with my spouse and that's what I'm going to do instead. It's just the distraction, the power of the natural splendor tends to impact religious affiliation. Secondly, areas with a lot of transplants, or what I call not rugged individualists, but rugged spiritualists, people who have to chart a path of their own only. And I think some of that emerged here in the Pacific Northwest, but I think there are people who are attracted to move out here, particularly because they feel it has that sense of individual, revolutionary, outside of the box, spiritual, cultural thinking and that experience. Many of the nuns, it's important to understand, and this is critical, people who are Cassandra saying that this is the end, John Meacham, the end of Christianity in America in Newsweek. I mean, talk about, yellow journalism. I like John Meacham. I think I've seen him speak. I think he's a great historian. And I didn't read the article in depth. I read snippets of it. But just the fact that Newsweek on the cover put, the end of Christianity in America because 15% say they have no affiliation. What it's important to remember is that 15%, 16%, the nuns are not avowed atheists. Remember again what I said previously from that recent survey from Pew. Many of them feel that religion is important, and they just haven't found the right place yet. They're not card-carrying Christopher Hitchin acolytes, okay? They just aren't sure and haven't found a place, but they still have a religious sensibility. They are what Patricia Killen describes as, and I don't know if she was the first, but certainly one of the most popular. These are people who sociologists call secular but spiritual. It's a designation that only the Pacific Northwest could love. So let me ask you, secular but spiritual, is this oxymoronic on its face? Or can you give us a sense, from your opinion, how can you reconcile being spiritual yet secular? What do you think? See, I'm equally stumped. Yes, please.
Well, I think that what you said before, people feel there's something more in the universe than they actually act on. So they continue to act and have a secular life, act out a secular life, but have feelings inside of something more that's missing. And so I think that's,
So they want something more, but they can't find an object or a context for it.
or they're, maybe they were raised metaphysical and they don't know what that means anymore. They're looking, so they just, their life goes on and they have a baby and they get married and then before they know it, they're 50 and they're like, oh, I never really went to church, and then it just passes by and they were okay with being spiritual and living spiritually
Until they have children or they face mortality, and then suddenly they run back there. Sorry, that's me with my hang-ups. Yes, please, yeah.